Hi everyone, sometimes here. Coming back with another video here. Just a quick 5 tips on how to start a league as a working class exile. Again, just quick video, just a framework for some of you to work with. Starting out a new league if you don't have the time or if you have very little time to play this game. So again, take that as is. I'll give you guys 5 quick tips on what I normally do. Number one, don't overthink it, boys. So my strategy for starting a new build and a new league is if you don't have enough time and you're only going to start one character, make sure that character is in line with some of the meta things that have been announced. So if it's an elemental, if it's a minion league, or if it's a melee league, you want to either start out like a Templar, Witch, or Marauder or Duelist, depending on what the meta may be that league. So you can start out with something that's from tried and true. So whether it be a minion, like a Hero Agony build, whether it be an RF build, whether it be um, Molten Strike build, something that is easy to get into, relatively cheap, and it's been tried and true. And then you can transition into that meta build later on in the league if it happens to line up with that. If you do plan on going deep into the league and you want to do more than one character, you can always start again with a tried and true character to stack currency, and then transition into your second character with all that currency that you've built up from the tried and true character. So yes, don't overthink it, boys. Is tip number one, and employ that strategy that I've used in the past, and you should do just fine. Number two, get the right tools, boys. I can't stress enough the right tools for the job, and by that I mean I'll lay out some tools right here for you, and you can and anything I mentioned in this video, I'll provide a link below so you guys can have a look at that. Number one, first and foremost, get the right filter, boys. So Never Sync filter is a very popular one. You can download directly from its GitHub site, and again, I'll provide the links. Or you can go to filterblade.xyz, and you can have a little bit more finite customization over the filter, so you can enable and disable some items in here. And this is how I normally do mine. But if you're new or if you're not familiar with this, you can just come here, go to the down, select the filter you like, whether it be from soft all the way to uber strict or uber strict plus, and then go to download and download that filter. So right there, download, and then you're gonna pop it into your filter folder. That's available in game under your UI option under your show folder in the filter. So that's number one, boys. Get your loot filter so you can level with ease and with little worry that you're gonna miss something. So anything that drops on the ground is probably something that you've asked it to filter. So you can enjoy a better leveling experience and you can move a little bit quicker. A second one, these other ones that I've or mentioning are more of an optional. However, path of building. Let me just cover this real quickly here. So path of building, and I use the community fork one, but path of building, more often than not, when you look at a build guide, when you see something on the forums, they have paste bin. Path of building is what those paste bins normally go into. You would import it into path of building, and you'll get a whole layout for that particular build, including weapons, items, all the stats for it. The community fork ones just shows a little bit more information, and I feel like it's a little bit more updated. So path of building is number two, boys. Number three for tools, and again, these are all optional. Awaken PoE trade for your trading needs, whispers and whatnot. Then you have PoE overlay and PoE trade macro. These will help you identify some affixes on your items, price them quickly. Again, these are not 100% accurate, so take it with a grain of salt. It's up to you to decide how much your items are worth ultimately. But again, these will help you get started as a new player, and as a veteran player, this will help you pricing out quickly, right? So as a veteran player, you may or may not know some of the things already, but again, this will give you a quick look at the PoE trade sites. So those are the tools that I normally like to employ. There are a lot other ones, but these are the ones that I like to do as a league start. As you move deeper into a league, there's crafting tools, There's crafting websites. Again, this video is just to give you a sense and a framework for league start and how a working class Exile gets started, boys. So that's tip number 2, is getting the right tools. Tip number 3 is leveling as quick as possible, boys. You don't want to stop and smell the roses. You just want to keep on going until you get to maps, so you can stack those currency once you get to map and progress into the game and complete some challenges. Again, if you've never, if this is your first time in the league, definitely enjoy the journey, right? So, but if you've done this many times before, you guys know you just want to get to maps and start making that currency and start getting the item drops that are better in quality. So, having said that, there's a few ways that I normally use to level quickly, and I'll just cover it quickly here. Again, the first title island quest gives you a Quicksilver flask, which increases your movement. That's very important, boys. You need one of those when you level, because you want to go as fast as possible through the zones, and also when I say fast as possible, you want to go at a pace where you're at level of the mobs, or sometimes even above it. But generally, you want to, when I say as fast as possible, it's all relevant to your skill level, right, boys? So again, that Quicksilver is important from the first quest. Then I also employ other strategies like recipes. So whether you're doing a melee build, a spellcasting, or any build in general. So these 3 will apply. So with the melee build, there's a melee physical weapon recipe that you can use. I'll show you the recipe link, recipe site in a little bit here. There's also a spellcasting one that you can use for your weapons. So this is the vendor recipe via the Gamepedia. There's a wiki that you can go to for these recipe also. And the third one I employ is the magic boots with increased movement speed. So for instance, 1 white boot with a Quicksilver and augmentation. Again, if you only have 1 Quicksilver, you probably don't want to employ this, but if you do pick up another one, or 2 more, or 3 more, these are the things that you want to kind of vendor in return for 1 magic boot with 10% increase movement speed. Or if you're lucky to find one with more than this, then you don't need to employ this. But movement speed boots are really important, boys. Don't neglect that. So those are the kind of strategies I employ to level up really quickly here. I will provide some links to some racers and some of their strategies they employ. Those videos are a little bit longer, so you might take some time to kind of extract whatever you like from that and take whatever you like from that based on your skill level. But again, this is just a quick framework of how I working class Exile starts a league. And moving to number 4, which is making currency at the start of the league, boys. How do we do this? There's several ways. There's so many ways actually for veteran players, players alike. However, for myself, who works quite a lot and also have a family, this is whenever I get to play this, I want to optimize my time making currency while I'm leveling, and then when I just start map. So these are kind of the strategies I employ, boys. First off, you wanna have your offhand weapon swap level some gems. I mean, this is not gonna yield you a lot of currency, but the gems that you put in there, hopefully they're some of the meta gems, right? Whether it be the slam skills that are meta, whether it be the brands that you put in there. Once you get to mapping, or once you get into mapping, some of those gems will be probably max level, and it can yield a few chaoses for them, right? So that'll just get you rolling. The other strategy I employ is having a tab for chaos recipe. So by that I mean, like, you have 1 item of rare quality above eye level 60, right? So 1 of each slot, whether it be helm, neck, ami, weapons, belt, gloves, boots, 1 of each will yield 1 chaos. When you sell all those items, it'll yield 1 chaos recipe. If they're all identified, it'll yield 2 chaos recipe. Or sorry, 2 chaos, not recipe. 2 chaos. 1 recipe if they're all identified, 2 chaos if they're unidentified. So again, that's just a quick, cheap way of kind of amassing some currency at the beginning of league. And that anybody can do as far as like a skill level, experience. However, this last strategy I employ is a little bit more advanced, and you have to be a little bit more knowledgeable about the game, but some of you may have been playing this already. But as you level and even as you start to map, you can have a trade tab open. So let me just open up a trade tab here. And so PoE, the PoE official trade site, you can use PoE trade.xyz, however, or PoE.xyz, but however, PoE, the pathofexile.com trade site works just fine, especially at the beginning of the league when the trade sites are getting hammered. This seems to be okay, not the best, but okay, and GGGs kind of keep on top of that. So what you would normally do for my strategy for looking for items is essentially just flipping items from low currency that's been listed on here to a little bit higher, whether it be 2, 3, 4, 5 chaos at the beginning league to multiple X's, mid league and end of league, right? So let's just start out with a couple examples. For me, some of the things I like to do is, high damage Fizz weapon. We're going into a Fizz league possibly. High Fizz damage for very cheap, right? So that is all relevant. I know it's a broad thing, but that's kind of one of the strategies you can employ. Another one are jewels. Jewels people usually tend to not think about until they get to their late game. By that I mean in their 80s or 90s when they start to kind of sort those things out. So you may not yield immediate currency from those, but it's always a good idea to keep on an eye out for cheap jewels, whether it be 1 to 5 chaos, and then flip them or even craft them yourself and yield higher currency. So again, this is for the working class, something that you can have running in the background. So let me show you what I mean by that. So in the Path of Exile trade site, the official one, you can once you log in. I'm not gonna log in here real quick, but I'm just gonna give you guys a quick example. Once you log in, you're able to then have an active search button right beside your search. So that active search is whenever somebody pops the required filters that you've specified, whether it be the stats in here and the currency that you want to buy it out for or whatever, it'll pop up in this trade site immediately. Or let me just caveat that. Immediately could be a few seconds to up to even a minute sometimes, depending on how hard the server is being hammered. But at least you'll have that item pop up. It'll make a sound in your browser. You can whisper them once it pops up. In game, you just press there and then you copy that and then you Control V or paste it into your chat in game, and hopefully they invite you. So having said that, that's one thing that you definitely can employ as you're leveling and even as you're mapping, on top of all the currency other methods that you're doing, whether it be labs, delving, crafting, or just straight up mapping, or partaking in the league mechanic to make currency. This is just something as an aside where you can do flipping if anything comes up. Again, this is a good strategy to employ if you don't have a lot of time in game and you're only in there for a finite amount of time. Yeah, so again, boys, that's tip number 4 as a working class Exile to get the league started. These are some of the things that I employ, and again, and then lastly but not least but not last, or last but not least, is number 5. I always have some kind of stream running in the background. Twitch. If you guys can't think of anybody, some_times with an S is a good place. I always will give you guys the TLDR on any info that has been dropped of the day, any Reddit info, any data mine info. There are good. Use them as background music as opposed to music, and you'll pick up a lot of tips and tricks right as you go. Also have any podcasts or any YouTube videos in the background as you level. I mean, some people can't multitask that way, but I'm able to, and I can extrapolate some information from that as background noise, right? So again, that's tip number 5. Let's just go real quick again. Number 1, don't overthink it. Just start your league, boys. Number 2, get the right tools for the job. Number 3, level as quickly as possible. Don't stop to smell the roses. Get to maps as quick as possible. And number 4, employ some of the currency making strategies that I've just mentioned there. There are tons of out there. These are just some frameworks I'm gonna give you guys to work with as a working class Exile to kind of start a league. And I've been successful the last 4 to 5 leagues or more actually. Sorry, 7 leagues. Getting up to upwards of a few mirrors a league easily in Exalt, and being able to build any build that I'd like to. Number 5, of course, have a streamer in the background, sometimes at Twitch. So again, boys, I hope to see you guys in raid class, and I'll be releasing a lot more videos in the future. I'll have a couple starter league builds coming up, and hopefully you guys can check that out. Again, see you in raid class, boys. Have a good one.